All right, Red Dog, it's great to see you again. How you doing, my man? How's your spring going?
Spring is good. It's really nice when the weather gets nice, right? You get to, instead of doing everything inside, you get to go run outside, run in the reservation, go in the mountains, get some elevation, be one with nature, listen to some birds, and just kind of like get your roots in place, right? So I love it.
I love it. We also got playoff sports, which I love. I think you're a Knicks fan. What do you think's going to happen here?
I don't know. All I know is Brunson is friggin' a tank. He is the strongest guy. Like, my son is an AU basketball player, and we were watching it together. We had a tournament this weekend. We were having Red Dog sandwiches at the Standard. And by the way, I do have a sandwich. We can get into that later. And Brunson goes out. He can't even walk. And then he comes back, and he's hitting, like, he's going through guys 6'7" footers. He's hitting, like, it's like, wow. Mind over matter.
I'll tell you what, that kid is tough as nails. When I saw that happen, I thought, oh no, the Knicks were done. Then I saw him come back, and I was like, nope, not yet.
I wonder what they shot in his leg.
I can't wait to have a Red Dog sandwich. You're going to have to tell me about that. Let's talk about some stocks here first. Did you want to share your charts?
Sure, let's do it. Let me figure out how to do that for a second here. Red Dog's an old dog, but I've learned how to do this.
I was going to say, this old dog has learned plenty of new tricks. That ain't no thing at all. Here you go. Here are the charts here. What are you starting off with? I got some questions, but what do you got? Starting off with the SPY here?
Yeah, just real quick. Obviously, we've had a big move from the lows. Like last week, we put a higher low in at 508. I wasn't that bullish, to be honest. When we put that higher low in, it felt like we were going back to retest the lows. And then the next day, we had a gap up, and we took out that prior high. And right there, I feel like Netflix showed its face that it could actually go higher. Some of the other tech names look good. And I started to put on a bunch of positions, Palantir, Reddit, some of them. And then you had a gap up. You could have been long versus that. And then PS, yesterday was decent. I feel like, a lot of people were expecting some kind of deal over the weekend, whether it was Japan, whether it was India. So some shorts were nervous, and PS, we had nothing. And we still kind of held in here. So my thought is, I feel like there's another 1 to 1.5% of upside if they want to keep this pain trade a little bit higher, because I feel like the pain trade's higher now.
Okay.
But then I do feel like the next 3-4%, once we get to that area, wherever that is, could be to the downside once the reality really hits of, what these tariffs are doing to the quarters ahead, because these companies are really not saying much. They're having a good quarter this quarter, and they're like kind of keeping quiet about the next quarter or two. They don't need, it's like, shh, you don't need to say anything, guys. Just let the market continue to do it. Like Google, had a great quarter. They didn't say anything, and it didn't really go anywhere. But, we'll see what happens with the big ones coming out this week as far as, is it solid enough, and do they just keep their mouth closed and we go up, or do they have a solid report and and they waste it because they're going to talk about the unknowns of the next 3 to 6 months?
So I know the charts don't say this, but do you think any of these companies might be just kind of dialing back or saying, hey, we're not going to give guidance, or we're going to give 2 sets of guidance like United Airlines did? Do you think that they're doing this to kind of wait out some of this trade negotiation thing?
Yeah, I think that'd be smart. Like, why, they don't need to be heroes here and say, well, we're going to guide lower because maybe these sticks. Screw it. Nobody's saying anything. Don't say anything. Let give us more time to play some of these things, before we could maybe get short from higher levels. And, a lot of these stocks are nowhere. It's like here, like I bought Meta yesterday. We'll talk about some earnings. I bought Meta a little bit of a call spread yesterday. I'm like, what? From 740 through 7.25 all the way down, it's nowhere. I'm like, why can't this get to 590? Right, 590, 600. So I bought what I buy? I bought a 570. What I buy? Meta, a 570 by 595 call spread. So I'm not really asking for a ton, and I'm only risking $6 to make like 19. Could we have like an inline report a little better than fear? Don't say too much, and the stock, you could be 590 and you're still well off of there. So I'm trying to find some things that, I'm not asking too much for, or I just don't have to be in them, because again, I feel like last earnings season, it was really hard to make money, with option plays. Even if you were right, there was so much premium. But, I feel like we've been able to make money post earnings plays. Like, let's go to Tesla for a second. Like Tesla, you really didn't even have to be in it post numbers. The numbers are obviously horrible. You had to be prepared to know that, like, Musk doing a week at Doge will be good because he'll be focused on Tesla. And then PS, this was your earnings move. Like, I think right here, And then this was your day after. All you had to do is buy versus 244, close strong, and then look at this move. You didn't have to take, crazy inflated plays into it. And now I'm still in some Tesla. I think that there's a good chance it can get towards 3.25 if the market holds in there. Right now, I think Tesla, if you could see what it looks like, I think it's up small. Oh, it's up $1.50 now. That's good.
Yeah, it's actually coming up off the lows here in the pre-market on some pretty substantial volume here. So it'll be interesting to see how this opens. It's also, maybe that's one, I can't tell on your chart there, but it is about to kind of test that 200-day moving average. I'd love to get some closes above that thing.
Yeah, if this closes above 295, I think it opens the door for 320. I'd love to be able to buy something high and sell it higher. We haven't had a lot of that in the last month. It's been, buy versus level and go, and try and stay with it. So
hold your nose and buy is what we've been in here, folks. Trade the lead up to the aftermath of the Fed meeting live with Scott Redler, Red Dog here, totally free, May 5th through 9th. Links in the chat. QR code is at the top of the screen. Red Dog, how about the Qs? How about the Qs in the IWM? You got any charts or any thoughts on those right now?
Qs are just like the SPY. Yes, yes, it was interesting. Again, I think I had like 12, not 12, I had a bunch of positions on, and like Sunday night, the futures were down 27 handles because there were no trade ink deals. But at least they didn't trap you yesterday. Like they didn't open the market down and just make you, make choices on whether you wanted to sit in stuff or not. Yesterday, they opened flat, a pushed higher. You could have sold a little bit of your positions. Like I had Palantir on sell, so you could have sold into strength, and you could have even got a little short because we, the Qs, we did push above 473 yesterday, hit 474 before coming in and testing this 465 area. So you could have, you could have got out of some things in strength, and you could have put on some hedges, and you could have bought a dip. So the market gave you 3 different ways to adjust yesterday. It wasn't predatory. I hate when the market's predatory. I hate when you're in something that's kind of looking good, feeling good, and then you get blindsided the day after. So even with no ink deals, we held in here. So I would say get rid of this line. As long as the Qs hold, this now 465-ish, there's a chance it could continue to work higher based on obviously what happens Wednesday, Thursday with some of these, bigger tech earnings.
Okay, good stuff there. As far as the deals go, we are actually hearing some stuff that India might be one of the first deals there. Also, I believe Trump has a meeting set up with Xi in the early May there, and I'm thinking about strategy there. I would think Mr. Trump is going to go into that meeting with as much leverage as possible, and I would imagine other countries know the same thing. So we'll see if we get some deals on top of that. There are a couple of individual names here that I wanted to ask you about. I hope that's okay. We already covered Tesla. I did want to take a quick look at Palantir because that thing has been on an absolute monster run recently. We're also getting a mention here about PayPal in chat as well as Spotify. I'm not sure if I've talked about those with you, so maybe we'll take a look at those too.
Yeah, well, here's Palantir. Palantir we did as a power play last week when it was focused right in here. Had a nice little bull flag above the moving average.
Sure.
I know I got long it. You actually could have bought it above 98, so it was nice to see. That was the day I think Netflix also proved you could buy higher. And I sold mine yesterday, not because it's bad, not because it's going to be a good short. I just was like, I'm going to take this trade. I've held it for 5-6 days. I wanted the VTF and the Alpha team to see that I do take things off. I don't just hold strong stocks. I use a tier system. I think it's fine. Let it digest a little bit here. This could be one of the few stocks that makes a new all-time high, kind of like real quickly Netflix. Like, look what Netflix did. Netflix was awesome for the fact that, hey, you could have bought verse 998 or bought verse 1032, or you could have played for momentum. Hey, you could have bought through 1064 and made a trade to 1100. So I do think Palantir is in that camp where, if we continue to hold in for a week or two, this is a name that could get to, this 125 area. Next spot is 118, but I got to figure out how to get back in. Sometimes if you get out to try and be cute, it's hard to get back in, or, it's just the trade's over. Here is when it's an A setup, a nice bull flag where you could buy versus level, add, and then 4 days higher, you know what? You can get rid of it and move on to the next setup. What'd you say? Somebody asked me about PayPal. I haven't really traded PayPal in a long time. I'll take a look at it. Yeah, it's got like a lower level here. It's working its way back. It's not like special or anything.
My thing about PayPal is I think that bottom might be in. Kind of looking back to those previous areas there, sure does look like maybe we've retraced down here and put in a short-term bottom.
Yeah, you have your low. You had a big wide range bar that day, and then it held 50% of it, showed some commitment. It's working its way back. Yeah, I could see it. This looks like most other things. This looks like if you know PayPal and you like it, this looks like a lot of other things that could kind of work its way back towards, a bigger resistance area, if not the 200-day if it wants it. It's just not leading. It's not this. Yeah. This is, look, Powell, look how this is above everything. That's not. But there's not a lot of names that look like this. Look how I actually think Reddit looks pretty good.
Okay.
Reddit kind of like a PayPal is coming off the bottom, and maybe there's some room to like 130. I'm in some of this. APP looks kind of similar. It's like, eating its way through some moving averages, has some resistance above. So there's not a lot of things that are like awesome. Like Spotify looked awesome going into the print. I guess it was too awesome. That's why, no, I'm saying that's why it was like kind of price for perfection here. But it also came off lows. It's only down now. Spotify, if you look at it now, it's already come in. Hold on, it's already come off lows. Like it was. Oh yeah. It was. What was it? It was a 543. So this morning in the 630 club, I wrote down 537, 555. So it's come off a little bit. I just think it's been too priced for perfection, and the report wasn't really perfection. It was fine, but not enough to get it above 562 and get momentum. So now it's just going to need time because it's hard to do that.
Okay. One more here. I did really quickly want to ask you about Google. Got any? Do you trade that? Are you interested in that at all?
I took a Google call spread into the numbers. Beautiful. I bought a 160 by 167.5, and I made money by the skin of my teeth. It opened up on Friday, if you remember. It was as high as 166. I had to make a decision because I had a 160 by 167.5 call spread. I needed it to be above 167.5 to max. I'm like, doesn't feel like it. So I sold more of the 167.5 calls. So when they sucked it in, I was able to keep that, got rid of the 160s for like $4, and I made money. It wasn't a maxed out call spread, but you had to be a surgeon. Lately, that's what you have to be, is a surgeon. Now, so if you look at the chart, if you think that the buyback's going to kick in, if you think that, just because they didn't give guidance, it's not going to be horrible, you could be long versus 158.60. I bought 165 calls for this week just so I don't have to really look at it for like $1.10. Either it's going to work or it's not going to work. But I think, you could also be long versus 158.60, and not overtrade it and just set your stop, set it and forget it, right? 160.45. And if it's going to hold here and go sideways and go up, you have your risk defined because the binary event's out of the way.
I'm embarrassed to say how many times I've seen that late night infomercial for that crock pot with set it and forget it. I'm embarrassed to admit it, so I won't even try. Look, but this is really good stuff here, folks. Trade the lead up to and the aftermath of the Fed meeting live with Scott Redler, totally free, of course, May 5th through 9th. QR code is at the top of the screen there. Link is in the chat. Red Dog, lay it on me. What are Red Dog sandwiches? I am a fan of a good sandwich. Lay it on me.
Let me ask you a question. How far are you from Millburn, New Jersey?
Several hours, probably 9 hours by car, and then an hour and a half, 2 hours by flight.
Well, next time you come to the city for something, you come to Millburn Standard. There's a restaurant there that I do a lot of work for. I'm on the Rec Commission. I'm on the Ed Foundation. I MC Rocktoberfest. I built a turf field here. So basically, during the pandemic, I closed the street down. So they gave me a sandwich called the Red Dog sandwich. It's basically like a Philly cheesesteak sandwich, but it's better. It's got a baguette. It's double toasted. I put jalapenos on there, real cheese, not a cheese sauce. And I don't go French fries. I go celery, because part of my diet for 2025 is no French fries, no beer. I haven't had French fries or beer in 2025, and no bread unless it's on a sandwich, because you can have the sandwich but don't have chips, don't have the side stuff. So you reduce those calories, you're not fat daddy at the beach.
Okay. Okay, a couple of things there. So first of all, I love a good cheesesteak. I absolutely can't wait to try to have that. I don't know how you don't eat bread and fries, but the beer, that's a good one. I'm with you on that 100%. I will absolutely try that Red Dog sandwich. Really, really good stuff. Really, really good stuff.
You got to come to the Millburn Standard and I'll take you. It's on me.
All right. Hey, I'm never going to turn down free food. I appreciate that. Scott, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to catch up with you next time. All right.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure.